I watched in stunned horror as the front door slammed with such force that it tipped my daughter's wheelchair backward. The sound of metal scraping concrete was instantly followed by a sickening thud. My 14-year-old daughter, Hannah, crashed hard onto the walkway, arms flailing, watercolor cards scattering like leaves in the wind. That moment froze time. 2 decades of Navy SEAL training compressed into a single, razor-sharp thought. This woman had no idea who she'd just picked a fight with. After retiring from the SEALs, I'd given everything to build a peaceful life for Hannah. She has cerebral palsy, but her spirit burns brighter than most people's. She paints, laughs at my bad jokes, and faces every challenge with grace. Oakmere Estates was supposed to be our safe haven. I'd researched for months accessible sidewalks, good schools, a welcoming community. And at first, it seemed perfect. Neighbors brought dumplings and cookies. Mr. Jennings installed special bathroom rails for Hannah. The kids down the block included her in game nights. But there was one face that always seemed to shadow the sunlight. Clara Walters, the HOA president. From the moment she laid eyes on Hannah, Clara didn't see a bright kid in a wheelchair, she saw a violation. Her smile was tight, and her gaze was cold. When Hannah excitedly showed her the ramp we'd built, Clara barely looked up. "I hope you filed the paperwork," she said, like Hannah had just spray-painted the sidewalk. That look, I'd seen it before in war zones. People who didn't see others as human. Hannah had poured her heart into making hand-painted greeting cards for her school's fundraiser. She wanted to contribute, to prove she could do something beautiful despite the world's assumptions. On that morning, she looked up at me and asked, "Can we start selling on Willow Lane today?" I walked across the street as she wheeled toward the first door. Her pitch was flawless, her smile bright. The Johnsons bought 6 cards. Mr. Baez, the retired engineer, bought a dozen for his grandkids. I watched her confidence bloom. Then came Clara's house. Hannah paused at the bottom of the ramp, but pushed forward anyway. She rang the bell, rehearsing her words quietly. "Hi, Miss Walters. I'm Hannah from Oakmere Middle, and I'm—" The door swung open mid-sentence. "We don't want any," Clara snapped. Hannah didn't flinch. "These are handmade for our school's art fundraiser." Clara narrowed her eyes. "This neighborhood doesn't allow soliciting. You people think the rules don't apply to you." Then the door slammed and Hannah, caught off guard, rolled back and tumbled off the edge. I sprinted. My training kicked in. Check for spinal trauma. Look for signs of a concussion. Keep her calm. No broken bones, but her pride was shattered. She whispered, "I'm okay," as neighbors stepped out. Her cards were soaked and torn, scattered like trash in the grass. That night, she broke. "Why does she hate me, Dad? Is it because of my wheelchair?" I didn't have an answer, but I knew one thing. Clara Walters had declared war on the wrong family. The next morning, Hannah wouldn't get out of bed. She curled away from the light. "I don't want to be wheelchair girl again," she mumbled. That broke me. She'd always been brave, always bounced back. Not this time. I told her to rest, and I made a silent vow. I wasn't going to let this happen to my daughter or anyone else. I read all 94 pages of the HOA bylaws. Section 5B, nonprofit sales for school fundraisers were explicitly allowed. Clara had lied. Then came a fine, $750 for our unauthorized wheelchair ramp, with a 30-day removal notice. Illegal under ADA. I called Jamie, old SEAL buddy turned real estate lawyer. "They can't do that," she said. "It's not just wrong. It's illegal." The next day, Mr. Jennings, the treasurer, knocked. He looked shaken. "There's supposed to be $200,000 in the reserve fund," he said. "There's only $40,000. Clara told me to shut up, or she'd ruin my business." I promised to protect his name. Then I filed a formal request for financial records. Within a week, we got 2 more notices, one for Hannah's adaptive gardening tools, another for our handrails. This wasn't random. It was harassment. Hannah saw my face and said, "You've got that mission look again." I told her the truth. She sat up and asked, "What's the plan, Commander?" I smiled. "We gather intel, rally the neighborhood, and take her down." Hannah nodded. "Good. This is my home, too." We launched a secure forum. Stories poured in. 60 families had been fined unfairly, mostly those with children, disabilities, or who didn't fit Clara's mold. Hannah took it further. She organized a civics class presentation on housing rights and disability law. She was turning pain into power. We discovered $160,000 had been funneled into administrative accounts. Clara had purchased a $310,000 vacation home and racked up HOA debit charges at resorts Bali, Tuscany. The Caymansol timed with her Instagram posts. Mr. Jennings found zoning violations on her own property that were never cited. Mrs. Rodriguez, an accountant, cross-checked budgets. Mrs. Chin, once too scared to speak, shared proof of selective enforcement against Asian American families. Then the final insult arrived. Our ramp was again denied, with a threat of daily fines. Hannah came home crying. Clara's daughter had told the entire lunchroom that we'd be forced to move. She called our house the eyesore of Oakmere, Hannah said. I'd had enough. The HOA meeting was Thursday. Normally a dozen showed up, mostly Clara's inner circle. This time, over 100 neighbors packed the room. Hannah wore her favorite dress. If we're going to battle, she said, I want to look like a warrior. Clara started with a slideshow targeting our ramp in bright red. Some families think they're above the rules, she sneered. I raised my hand. She tried to ignore me, but the crowd shouted her down. This isn't about my ramp, I said. It's about abuse of power and financial corruption. Clara turned red. Those are baseless accusations, she snapped. Slander has consequences. Exactly, I said. Hannah wheeled forward and handed a USB drive to Mr. Jennings. For 20 minutes, we presented undeniable evidence. Charts, testimonies, photos, financial breakdowns. Clara tried to cut us off. Mr. Jennings cited a bylaw that forced her to allow community concerns with majority support. Mrs. Rodriguez revealed $180,000 in misused funds. Clara's only defense? Those were leadership retreats. Solo retreats, apparently. She glared at me. Who are you to challenge me? Just some military grunt. I stood tall. Lieutenant Commander Daniel Price. Retired SEAL. I know how to track corruption. But today I'm here as Hannah's father. Hannah rolled to the center. When you slammed your door, I fell because of my disability. This community is falling because of yours. Dead silence. Then applause. Clara banged the gavel, panicking. Mr. Jennings called a vote of no confidence. The board voted 4-1 to remove her. She hissed, You'll regret this. I leaned in. If you target my daughter again, you'll be explaining yourself to the DA. In the weeks that followed, Oakmere changed. The audit confirmed the theft. Clara faced criminal charges. The HOA rewrote its rules with input from a disability rights attorney. Hannah joined the Youth Advisory Board. 3 months later, she led a project to convert an abandoned lot into an accessible community garden. Neighbors built raised beds, wide paths, and adaptive tools for all abilities. Spring came. Hannah gave tours to county officials. One little boy asked why her wheelchair had rubber gloves on the rims. She smiled. Everyone needs help. My chair is like Mrs. Lopez's high beds or Mr. Jennings' back brace. It's not what makes me different. It's what helps me grow. That summer, the HOA held its first Accessibility Awareness Fair. And under the warm sun, I watched my daughter teach others how to plant seeds not just in soil, but in hearts.